Oman declared war on the Emirate of Oman. So this is the Middle East starting to crumble. It seems that the wave of instability sweeping through the Middle East is far from over, as Oman becomes the latest nation to fall to civil war. Though reliable information is difficult to obtain, it seems that the chaos began with Qaboos, son of the previous Sultan. Saeed launched a coup against his own father with the help of the local Italian garrison. Rome has so far refused to comment on the events in Oman. Meanwhile, religious traditionalists and tribal elements have rallied around Ghalib al-Inai, an Omani imam. In this inhospitable region of the Jamal Akhtar, with the strength of faith and Saudi support, they hope to restore theocratic rule to the country. Another insurrection took place in the western deserts of Dhofar, where a large coalition of pan-Arabists, communists and Baathists rose up under the partisan leader Layla Fakhro, hoping to turn Oman into a stronghold for pan-Arabism in southern Arabia. As the three sides seem to be rather evenly matched, it's hard to predict what the future holds for the Sultanate. Not another one. The Dhofar rebellion declared war on the Emirate of Oman. Oman declared war on them. Also, I just realised that my Yoms Vikings are still only combat with 8. I want to get an extra APC. Need to do that. Save. We still have 4 points left after this. However, we are going to be 1.6 thousand APC short. Alright, time to dismantle the Kingsguard, I think. The Kingsguard have wielded a tremendous degree of authority in the King's Court since the founding days of our realm, and Prince Yuri grows ever more suspicious of their presence. Many of the guards still remain loyal to Lydia, rather than the King's chosen heir, and it's well-known fact that some of them hold ambitions that some would consider dangerous. Worse still, there are many in the kingdom who fear the Kingsguard as a dark symbol of the authoritarian dominance. Yuri plans to nip this potentially serious problem in the bud before it grows out of hand. The Kingsguard shall be dismantled, and in their place a more conventional security force will be established to take over the previous duties. It is unlikely the majority of the Kingsguard will take this lying down, but such a drastic step is necessary to ensure the future stability of the kingdom. We cannot afford cruel, ambitious aristocrats getting in the way when we are so close to reunification. Yeah, going after the Kingsguard would definitely seem like one of the potential sparks to cause problems. No, poverty level shouldn't have gone down. These don't tend to trend down very much. Upward trends are still very much in place. Although, we might... Oh no, I can't actually change my government anymore. There's no more regional upgrades. At least not yet. Love it if Mordred could solve the family feud peacefully, even if it's possible to avoid civil war. I would like that as well, but I'm not seeing how. I think if you go with Lydia, Yuri is more likely to work with her, because he seems a lot more passive than Lydia does, whereas Lydia is very much I'm going to seize power type character, especially because she controls the Kingsguard. So disbanding the Kingsguard is a bloody good move, because they are loyal to her, as are the Shield Maidens. National focus complete. The fate of the Kingsguard. Yakov Brun in Liechtenstein paced nervously in his office. The commander of the Kingsguard had heard his entire force was to be disbanded, effective immediately. Nearly a decade of proud service to his majesty cast aside in nearly an instant. Yakov cursed the name of Prince Yuri. What right, he thought, did this upstart have to rip apart a prestigious institution like the Kingsguard? The sound on his door opening disrupted his ruminations. Sir, they're here. They come to disarm us. By force. The commander's aide had a frantic look in his eyes. Who's here? Is it the army? I'm not sure. I didn't recognize the uniforms. I suspect it might be our replacements. Yakov had suspected the upstart prince had already a parliamentary force of his own ready to take the place of the guard, and this news merely confirmed his suspicions. Not only were the Kingsguard being disbanded, but their successors were to have their baptism by fire. Yakov turned away from his aide to peer out the window. Armed troops wearing uniforms not unlike those of the Kingsguard were fanning out through the barracks. It wouldn't be long before they found their way to Yakov's office. Such a brazen display of authority insulted the proud commander. Not only were the noble Kingsguard to be disbanded, but the prince clearly did not trust the guard enough to allow them to do so on their own terms. Yakov dismissed the distraught aide and took a seat at his desk as the sound of running boots came audible from downstairs. Pouring a shot of vodka, he took a wistful look at the picture of himself and his comrades framed on his desk, taking the day of the Kingsguard formation. Years of service. It was all for nothing. Kingsguard primacy is replaced by the People's Guard. Oh god, we're going communist again, aren't we? Division organization goes up, recovery rate goes up, stability goes up, division defense goes up. However, the decryption and encryption goes down. This focus tree keeps getting stuck. There we go. Reinvent the guild system, so industrial expertise would go up, or we can subsidize the loyal merchants. Slightly decreases coring time. Kemerovo and Tuguro gain a civilian factory. Or militarize the settlements will also decrease coring time. Army professionalism will begin to improve if we democratize the Dragenia. Or Legacy of the Merchant Republic would give us some liquid currency, which would allow me to pay off debts faster. What are the options for heir? Only Rurik's children? Yeah, and only 2 of them, I think. I don't think Boris gets a shout. It's just Yuri or Lydia. Although I do kind of wonder if both of them are equal if Boris takes it. Don't worry, when all of Mother Russia is united, it will be Boris who is left standing atop his tank as the new Tsar. Yeah, the Boris Guard. Wouldn't want to mess with them. Quite like that name. We're calling them the Boris Guard. Okay, so which do we think? Do we want to go for militarizing the settlements, which will increase our professionalism, which will make our armies even stronger, although they're already incredibly professional? Or we can subsidize the loyal merchants, which will give us 2 free civilian factories, and also increase our liquid currency reserve. Now, the thing with this, I don't know if that's a one-off payment or a continuous payment. That's one thing I really don't know. But yeah, this is going to be a poll. We are, of course, going to call upon the loyal Sobor. So the 2 choices were democratize the Dragenia. Oh no, it's not. It's militarize settlements. Or subsidize loyal merchants. And vote. Vote, vote, vote. Get your votes in. Let me know which one you would prefer. Guys, we need the military factories. I disagree with that, Colinus. Because we have got 360 IFVs which we don't use, 446 tanks, 6,000 RPGs, 6,000 artillery, 40,000 guns, 3,900 motorized, 6,800 support, 26 and various aircraft, and even 190 convoys spare. And now is the only time that we've actually had the manpower to make use of any of it. And one of the other problems is the vehicles that we do need require rubber, and we don't have the stuff for that. If it was dockyards. Okay, so yet again, another very good vote. 45% of you wanted to militarize the settlements. However, 55% of you wanted to subsidize the merchants. So we are going to subsidize the merchants. That is despite the 57,000 channel point investment there by Shadow Guardian. Thank you very much for that, Shadow Guardian. But unfortunately, the merchants won. So we are going with the merchants. With such vast territories now under the authority of Rurik II, incredible sums of wealth now flow through the realm like rivers of gold. Up until now, the Crown has made little effort to reap the benefits that trade has bestowed upon us, but His Majesty wishes to change this state of affairs post-haste. Loyal merchants and the tradesmen in the kingdom will be subsidised and encouraged to conduct their business in tandem with the interests of the Crown and the royal unions. The knowledge that conducting economic ventures under His Majesty's watch would be richly rewarded will undoubtedly encourage all manner of businessmen to flock to our borders. If business in the kingdom is booming, the economy will experience rapid growth and prosperity will be within our reach. And Mitch wants me to have some tea. I think that can be arranged. And yeah, as I suspected, this is... Oh no, in the south it's moving pretty quickly towards the West Siberian Republic. Oh, we have got units ready to deploy. Some more of the Shield Maidens. Okay. Right. Our entire army should be drilling if they need to be. Did we finish the research on the new planes? No, the new planes and the new tanks are still happening. That was an artillery upgrade. I think that we can do another one. Our one innovation recently developed in artillery is to increase the range and the base bleed, a controlled amount of fuel being let go in the back of the shell in order to increase aerodynamic efficiency. When engineered correctly, this technique can allow shells to go 15 to 30% further. It's actually quite a big boost. And we have got some factories. Oh, the coring finished. Right. So yeah, we really didn't need those military factories. Well, I'm going to say another one onto yak attacks. I'm going to go for more convoys. I guess a little bit more artillery, a little bit more RPG. We're going to go with a lot more APCs because we do need a lot of those. And then maybe more guns? We still have 6 more factories after this. Let's do transports in case we need supply drops. Motorized, I guess. Because I would like to get field hospitals going at some point. So we'll say 4 motorized. And also we're going to need the motorized to transport artillery. We really need to get some rubber going, though. Now, we do have liquid reserves of 100 million, so let's go ahead and dump that to drop the debt burden. GDP growth is now 12.3%. Our GDP is insane. Okay, those local loyal merchants have been subsidized. We're now going to do the legacy of the Emergent Republic. One of Prince Yuri's most well-known influences on his style of governance is the ancient Republic of Novgorod, which was renowned as one of the medieval Russia's most prosperous realms. Fascinated by their systems and laws, Yuri believes that following the old merchant republic's footsteps is the key to national prosperity. This commendable influence can clearly be seen in his proposed economic policies. With Rurik II's endorsement, the prince finally has the opportunity to put his unorthodox theories into motion. Much like the kingdom itself, these plans are an eclectic combination of ancient frameworks paired with modern sensibilities. Under Yuri's shrewd guidance and with the approval of Rurik, the economic strength of the Rus will soar to greater heights than have ever been achieved before. So I'll need to be sure to watch that in 16 days when it completes. Oman has defeated the Imamate of Oman. No longer get the effects of civilian austerity. Oh, yeah, shoot. Well, we can get rid of that. And then we have minus 600 million again. So coring stuff did increase the cost of everything. Ah. $15. Okay, so currently we have got no liquid reserves. And now we got 25 million liquid reserves. That it? That better be an increasing trickle. I didn't think to check to see what the deficit was. Did that go down at all? I don't think so. That was a bit of a wibble. Did say a small amount. That's a really small amount, though. Okay, so we can force compromises and also absorb the old guard. I think I'm going to old guard first, then compromises. Because our stability is already maxed out. So this is going to bring in a censored press instead of state press only, which will reduce the political power gain, which we don't need at this point. Defense, ideology defense also goes down. And regulated public meetings will reduce stability, but we're maxed out. And this one also reduces coring times, but we don't core anything. So let's absorb the old guard. Prince Yuri has been confirmed as the true heir to Rurik's vaunted legacy, and is well on the way to becoming the most powerful and influential man in the kingdom. However, this is not to say he is without detractors. His sister, Princess Lydia, still has a sizable base of support even after the Kingsguard's dissolution. This base largely consists of rich aristocrats and the older military men who were given many bold promises by Lydia to ensure their support. To secure Yuri's unconditional support amongst the higher classes of the realm, this state of affairs must be rectified. Therefore, the prince will reach out to his sister's most ardent supporters with the hopes of reaching some kind of understanding. While Yuri would never dream of compromising on his lofty ideals, he still believes that the old guard can be brought back into the fold with a few honeyed words and reassurances. So, Othdem will go up, despotism will go down. And we are Othdem at this point, right? Yes, we are. With the Sobor being a little bit more empowered, as we saw. Can still be overruled when needed. If you make the wrong choice, it can still be overruled. West Siberian Republic declared war on Orenburg, while fighting against the Provisional Commissariat of Western Russia. That seems questionable. Especially as you just got cut off. Oh no, you opened it again. Death of President Ho Chi Minh. Soon after becoming the first president of the Republic of Vietnam, Ho Chi Minh has fallen ill and died surrounded by his friends and comrades. After a lifetime struggle fighting for the independence of his nation, the late Vietnamese president is mourned by millions across Indochina for his toils and leadership in the face of foreign domination. His solemn funeral service is attended by many in the government, including the new president, Trinh Chinh, who was elected from his position as General Secretary of the Communist Party following a vote by the Politburo. He gave a moving and hopeful speech reminding the people of Vietnam that death does not conquer the fight for independence, and that Uncle Ho's fight for the nation's freedom has not been in vain. Well, deficit's gone down again. So it looks like we are slowly turning this around, and we are below 20 billion for the first time in a while. Alright, absorb the old guard. Let's go ahead and force these compromises and see if this can fix things. It's not unfair to say that our system of governance is highly unorthodox and largely a work in progress. While it has, for the most part, worked out quite well, it's not to say the problems have not yet surfaced. The administrative bureaucracy is divided up between the elected officials, the regional posadniks that were recently established in the kingdom's nobility. Each has different ideas on how the administration of the realm should be handled, and each disagrees heavily with the other's ideas. These disagreements cannot be allowed to continue. When the bureaucracy begins to fight amongst itself, total disaster is not far off. Prince Yuri suggested a decisive intervention to end this nonsense. These three bickering groups will learn to play nice or reach some kind of compromise whether they like it or not. The stability of the realm is too important to risk on petty squabbles, and ensuring cooperation amongst the administration is the key to cementing lasting authority over the peoples of the Rus. Pass. Let's do this. I presume you'll be able to diplomatically annex West Siberian Republic. I doubt that. I mean, yeah, possibly. My tanks could probably diplomatically annex it without single loss. The rest of the army, maybe not. So, that's it then. You're going to send me away, so I won't trouble the capital with my presence any longer. Princess Lydia's voice was practically dripping with venomous sarcasm. Prince Yuri brought his hand to his face, contemplating what to say next. His sister has to govern the Prince of Magadan, a desolate, icy hell far from the capital. That was never my intention, Lydia. Magadan is in need of a governor if you've proven yourself a highly capable administrator in the past. What difference does that make? Magadan is a frozen wasteland. There's so few living there, the place practically runs itself. The princess's passive-aggressive attitude was now teetering on the brink of blind rage. Her brother's excuse clearly was not what she wanted to hear. Yuri went silent for a moment, choosing his next words with care. Lydia, listen. I know you must despise me for what I did, and there's nothing I can say that can change that. At the end of the day, though, we are siblings. I still believe we can work past this political mess, because blood bonds are stronger than any ideological differences. We can come together again, but first I need you to work with me. Can you find it in your heart to do so? Her brother's words gave Lydia much to think about. I suppose. I'll try my best, Yuri. Just don't forget about me. The prince responded by offering a handshake, which quickly became a hug. I still love you, sister. Nothing will ever change that. Good luck in Magadan, Princess Lydia. Exile! She was exiled. Call on Boris to watch over Lydia. Alright, forced compromises has been done. Military austerity has ended. We're still 2 years away from the next potential war. So, less military spending. And now we can reinvent the guild system. Then I think we're going to do the dragon ship stuff. As a system, the guilds are inherently harmful to the goals of the workers' rights, but also increase the nation's productivity as a whole. Meanwhile, unions are a commendable achievement for the worker, but do not exactly encourage brutal efficiency. Prince Yuri suggests that a compromise between the guilds and the unions would be the best option moving forwards, and has presented a new plan before Rurik himself. Although a total restructuring of the guilds or organised mutual beneficial cooperation between the guilds and the unions will not only be encouraged but incentivized. The unions will serve as the watchdogs of labour, diligently watching out for the workers of the realm. Meanwhile, the guilds will work tirelessly to make sure the bottom line is never put in jeopardy. So long as the workers are not troubled, the two will become indispensable parts in the greatest economic machine of the kingdom, working in tandem to ensure our eternal prosperity. The winds of change. Something was different about the Zemensky Sobor today. The tone of the subjects being debated had been almost entirely positive in nature, and the members of the council felt entirely free to speak their minds. The ominous presence of the Kingsguard was gone entirely, and the masked men who coldly stood vigil over the chamber were absent. An air of almost warm in nature began to take hold in the Zemensky Sobor, far different than the intimidating environment it presented in the past. It is my belief that the formation of proper political associations would go to great lengths towards ensuring healthy political discourse within the realm. With my father's blessing, I have already begun to work on with several of my fellow council members to build the foundations of a truly democratic parliamentarian kingdom. For too long, we have lorded over our people, who are no better than slaves to royal authority. My friends, believe me when I say we are on a road to creating a kingdom that serves the people rather than ourselves. Yuri's speech, unsurprisingly, was met with overwhelming applause. There was little opposition to the plans to reform these days, and most of the Zemensky Sobor had already been convinced one way or another that the prince was their best interests at heart. As the clapping continued, Yuri glanced across the chamber to his sister. To the prince's surprise, Lydia had remained present throughout the entire meeting. Lydia clearly had not shared the rest of the council's enthusiasm, but did not appear to have the usual look of quiet disgust. Yuri's heart sank as their eyes met. She still appeared unconvinced in her brother's intentions, though. To his relief, the hatred was gone. There's gonna be changes round here. Social democracy, liberal democracy, conservative democracy, and authoritarian democracy go up. You should make Lydia like the leader of the house. That way she can be an authoritarian because she's still in charge of like the political arm. And she wouldn't just be completely exiled to Magadan. By the way, Mordred, you might need to change the stream title. That's true! Yes! Kingdom of Siberia. Done. Excellent. I do wonder if you don't go, like, immediately for the compromise path, if Lydia would rise up. Because it does feel like it's through this stuff that Lydia's been, like, placated. And I know you can do that kind of thing in the focuses. To be fair, I thought it was Serbia before I read it again. The Egyptian Revolutionary Command Council declared war on the Kingdom of Egypt. Middle East is having more and more problems. Order collapses in Egypt, likely encouraged by the developments within Yemen. The leader of the Free Officers Movement, Gabal Aber Nasser, has seized a large portion of the nation following an abortive coup against the monarchy. Following the failed coup and the subsequent revolt, the Muslim Brotherhood, a group of Islamic militants led by Sayyid Qutb, have themselves attempted and failed to seize power, and now fight against both the monarchy and the Nazarists. The Muslim Brotherhood is heavily suspected to be funded and armed by the Saudis, despite Riyadh's official denial on this matter. This presents a greater issue within the conflict, as it means stoking of new tensions between Italy and Saudi Arabia. Is this the beginning of something larger? Muslim Brotherhood declared war on the Egyptian Revolutionary Command Council and on the Kingdom of Egypt. Meanwhile, we've reinvented the guild system. Yemen declared war on Saudi. Okay, so dragon ship time. At last, our kingdom is no longer shackled to the land, hundreds of miles away from any kind of coastline. With the Russian Far East secured, we now have access to the Bering Sea and the critical port of Magadan to become the proverbial window into the outside world. The waves beckon, and it is time to establish a new fleet to secure a naval presence of our own in the east. Liddy's going to become the Grand Admiral. She can export her awesome ideas to other people. The Warrior Queen rises again. Like our Varangian ancestors of old, the peoples of the Rush shall take to the open seas once more. While a mighty war fleet is still out of the reach for the time being, we can still put together a more humble force intended to patrol the Arctic warriors and ensure the safety of our trade. There are many abandoned ships in the port of Magadan that once belonged to our enemies, and after some restorative efforts they could once again serve proudly in His Majesty's navy. Alexander Afasayev becomes a naval commander. So this is going to give us a really big boost to shipbuilding. We don't have any ships to build. Naval research? What's that? We have a third tank division. Ooh. Well, that's gonna be fun. Lydia, the warrior queen of the seas. Exactly. Anyanya declared war on the Azania Liberation Front, Sudan Defense Force, and the Ba'athist State of Sudan. So Sudan is also erupting into violence. So it's all of these civil wars which are basically allowing the superpowers to face off against each other. That's why they exist. The Egyptian Revolutionary Command Council has defeated the Muslim Brotherhood in a war. Command Council, that's communist, right? Yeah, authoritarian socialism, so totalism. MiG-23. There it is. Alright, let's replace the AK-3s with the MiG-23s. That's such a massive upgrade. Range 2,200 versus range 1,200. Air defense 21. Air defense 33. Air attack 58. Air attack 36. Agility 75. Agility 111. Max speed 1,700 kilometers per hour. Max speed 720 kilometers per hour. This thing's 1,000 kilometers faster. That's a hell of an upgrade. And there we go. We've got better artillery. And we'll continue getting the better artillery, I think. While perhaps the most expensive option, rocket-assisted projectiles have small rocket engines inside that can shoot shells as far as practically needed. And still October 69.